Your baby can't tell you when their blood sugar's crashing. They can't say, "Mom, I feel shaky and my emotions are out of control right now." All they can do is fall apart, scream, cry, melt down on the kitchen floor 20 minutes after the best birthday party of their life. And here's what most parents don't realize. What you've been told about sugar and kids' brains, the sugar high, the hyperactivity, the idea that one cupcake ruins the afternoon, a lot of it isn't quite what you think. The real story is stranger and honestly more interesting. Let me be clear before we go further. This is not about bad parenting. This is not about the juice box you handed them in the car or the candy you used to survive a grocery store checkout line. Millions of loving, attentive parents give their kids sugar every single day. That's not the problem we're solving here. By number 6, you'll understand why just one piece of candy can quietly train a child's brain in ways that have nothing to do with the sugar itself. And by number 8, you'll never look at a meltdown after dessert the same way again. This isn't about guilt. It's about understanding what's actually happening inside that little developing brain. Let's start with the scene every parent knows. Number 1, it's a birthday party. Cake, juice, maybe some candy from a goodie bag. Your child is bouncing off the walls, and you think, sugar high. Here's the reveal. Decades of controlled research have actually failed to find real hyperactivity caused directly by sugar itself. What's really happening is context. Loud rooms, excitement, other kids, novelty, less sleep than usual. All of it stacked together. The mechanism is simple. A young nervous system gets flooded with stimulation, and self-regulation, the brain's ability to calm itself down, is still under construction in early childhood. The prefrontal cortex, the part that helps manage impulses and emotions, doesn't fully mature until the mid-20s. So the wildness you're seeing isn't sugar rewiring their brain in that moment. It's an immature nervous system meeting a lot of excitement at once. Soft reassurance, one loud party isn't rewriting anything. What matters is how often a child's days are overstimulating, not any single afternoon of cake. Number 2, you hand your toddler a juice box because it feels like the healthy choice compared to soda. Here's the reveal. Many juices contain a surprising concentration of sugar for their size, often absorbed into the bloodstream fast, without the fiber that would normally slow things down. The mechanism, a quick sugar spike, triggers an insulin response, and what goes up quickly often comes down quickly too. That dip in blood sugar can leave a child feeling foggy, irritable, or suddenly emotional, not because sugar damaged anything, but because their brain runs on glucose, and a crash affects mood regulation in real time. This is not a reason to panic over juice. It's a reason to notice patterns, how often, how much, and what it's paired with. A square of chocolate after a balanced meal behaves very differently in the body than juice on an empty stomach. Small fix, pairing sweet treats with protein or fat slows the spike and the crash that follows. Are you seeing yourself in this yet? Because most of us are, honestly. Let's keep going. Number 3, your child has a full meltdown at 4 p.m. the witching hour, and you notice it happens more on days with more snacks. Here's the reveal. It's rarely just about the sugar itself. It's about what sugar does to appetite regulation over the course of a day. A child who fills up on sweet snacks may eat less of the protein, fat, and fiber that stabilize blood sugar and mood for hours at a time. The mechanism: stable blood sugar supports a calmer nervous system. Roller coaster blood sugar, up fast, down fast, asks a child's still developing brain to regulate big emotional swings without the tools to do it smoothly yet. That's genuinely hard work for a small nervous system. This isn't about banning snacks. One sugary snack on one day changes very little. A pattern of sweet-heavy eating across many days is what shapes how steady a child's energy and mood feel. Microfix: if a treat is coming, try offering it near a meal rather than on its own. It softens the spike. Number 4. You use candy as a reward. Clean your room, get a sticker, finish dinner, get dessert. Here's the reveal. This isn't really about sugar's chemistry at all. It's about learning. When a specific food is consistently used as the reward and other foods are framed as the obstacle, children can start attaching emotional weight to that food. Treat as love, treat as achievement, treat as comfort. The mechanism ties into how the brain's reward system develops. Dopamine, the brain chemical involved in motivation and pleasure, responds to patterns of association, not just taste. Repeated pairing of good behavior equals sweet treat can shape food relationships that last well beyond childhood. Soft reassurance: using dessert as a reward once in a while isn't going to define your child's relationship with food. What matters is whether it becomes the primary way love, praise, or comfort get delivered. Small shift: try pairing rewards with attention and words sometimes, "I'm so proud of you," alongside or instead of food. Number 5. Your child asks for just one more cookie and it turns into a battle every single time. Here's the reveal. That intensity isn't defiance for its own sake. Highly palatable sweet foods are quite literally engineered and evolutionarily wired to be hard to stop wanting. Adults feel this too. It's not a willpower failure unique to kids. The mechanism? Sugar activates the brain's reward pathway strongly and quickly, more strongly than many other foods, especially in a brain that hasn't yet built the regulatory skills to say that's enough on its own. This isn't a character flaw in your child. It's biology meeting an underdeveloped skill, delayed gratification, which is one of the last things the brain learns to do well. Microfix: deciding on portions before the food is in front of them removes the in-the-moment negotiation entirely. Quick pause. If any of this is landing for you, you're exactly who this channel is for. I break down what's actually happening in your child's brain. No shame, just the real science, every week. If that's useful, hit follow, because item number 6 is about to change how you think about just one piece of candy completely. Number 6. You give in and let them have just one piece of candy to stop the whining. And it works instantly. The crying stops the second the wrapper comes off. Here's the reveal. This is the one that changes how you see meltdowns forever. What just happened wasn't really about the candy satisfying a craving. It was a lesson in cause and effect. Big emotion, followed by sweet reward, followed by relief. The mechanism is called intermittent reinforcement, a well-established concept in behavioral psychology. When a behavior is rewarded even some of the time, it becomes more persistent, not less, because the brain learns this sometimes works, so it's worth trying again. It's the same mechanism that makes slot machines compelling. So the meltdown isn't necessarily about sugar cravings. It might be a learned strategy that gets results. This isn't about never giving in. Every parent does, and that's human. What matters is the pattern. If candy consistently follows big emotional outbursts, the brain notices. Microfix: try offering comfort. A hug, sitting close, naming the feeling as the first response, with food as a separate, unlinked choice later. Number 7. Your child seems fine all day at daycare, then falls apart the moment they see you, right after you hand them a sweet snack in the car. Here's the reveal. Parents often blame the snack, but this is almost always what's called restraint collapse, a child holding it together all day around others, then releasing all that held tension the second they feel safe with you. Co-regulation, borrowing calm from a trusted adult's steady presence, is how young children's nervous systems settle. The snack is just timing, not the trigger. This isn't a sugar problem at all, and it isn't a parenting failure either. It's actually a sign your child trusts you enough to fall apart with you. Soft reassurance, this pattern usually softens as a child's own self-regulation skills develop with age and practice. Microfix, try greeting the meltdown with calm presence before offering any food. It separates the two events for their brain. Number 8. You've noticed dessert has become the loudest, most anticipated part of dinner, more exciting than the meal itself. Here's the reveal. This is where just one piece of candy repeated over months and years quietly builds something bigger, a hierarchy in a child's mind of boring food versus exciting food. That hierarchy isn't caused by any single treat. It's built by the pattern of what gets emphasized, celebrated, and talked about most. The mechanism is simple, association learning again, but compounding over time. Children pick up on emotional energy. If the emotional high point of a meal is always the sugar at the end, that's the association that sticks. Not because sugar is dangerous, but because attention shapes value. This isn't about eliminating dessert. Plenty of thoughtful families keep treats and raise kids with a relaxed, healthy relationship to food. Microfix, try letting other foods get some of that same enthusiasm in conversation, noticing flavors, textures, where food comes from, so dessert isn't the only exciting part of the table. Number 9. Bedtime is a battle almost every night, and you've started wondering if that evening popsicle is part of it. Here's the reveal. Sugar late in the day can affect sleep, but usually not through some dramatic sugar rush. It's subtler than that. A blood sugar dip a couple hours later, right around bedtime, can leave a child feeling unsettled, hungry again, or emotionally tender, all of which make falling asleep harder. The mechanism connects back to that same glucose roller coaster. Sleep itself depends on a calm, regulated nervous system. A body working to stabilize blood sugar isn't as primed for the wind-down process bedtime requires. This isn't a reason to eliminate evening treats forever. It's simply useful information. Timing matters as much as the treat itself. Microfix, if dessert happens, try moving it earlier in the evening, further from bedtime, rather than cutting it out completely. Number 10. You catch yourself saying sugar is bad in front of your child, maybe more than once, maybe without even meaning to. Here's the reveal. This might be the most important one. Children absorb the emotional tone adults use around food long before they understand any of the biology behind it. A moralizing tone, bad food, good food, guilt around eating, can plant seeds of a complicated relationship with food that has nothing to do with sugar's actual effects on the brain. The mechanism here isn't neurological, it's relational. Kids build their internal sense of food, body, and self partly by mirroring the emotional language the adults around them use. This isn't about being perfect with your words every time. That's not realistic, and no parent manages it. It's about noticing the overall tone more than any one slip. Microfix, try language like an everyday food versus a sometimes food, rather than good versus bad. It keeps the facts without the moral weight. So here's where we land. If some of this made you a little uncomfortable, that's not guilt. That's attunement. That's you paying close enough attention to your child to actually notice these patterns, which most parents never even pause to consider. There's a concept from the pediatrician and psychoanalyst D.W. Winnicott called the good enough parent. Not a perfect parent, not a parent who never hands over a juice box in a moment of survival. A parent who shows up, gets it wrong sometimes, and repairs. Winnicott's research suggested that repair, not perfection, is what actually builds a secure, resilient child. You are already doing that. Every time you learn something new about how your child's brain works and adjust even slightly, that's the whole game. You are enough for this child, exactly as you are, learning as you go. If this helped you see something in a new light, send it to another parent who might need it too. Not for me, for them. Someone in your life is probably staring down a birthday party meltdown, wondering what just happened. I'll see you in the next one.